Welcome everyone to This Week in Svelte. Sorry, I was also listening to the thumbnail music. Welcome to This Week in Svelte, episode 99. We're getting very close to episode 100, and which, by the way, I will share it again later. But next week will actually not next week because next week I'm not available. But on the 11th, there will be This Week in Svelte episode 100, and we will do a very cool thing because we will do a Q&A with Rich Jesus Harris himself. And there's a form if you want to ask any question, feel free to drop them. This is episode 99, despite the thumbnail. Sorry, but I was very late. I was not able to create the thumbnail in time, and usually it's Karim's job, but I was very late also to tell him what to put on the thumbnail, so yeah, my fault. But we are here today. It was supposed to be a quick episode because there was the maintainer meeting, but it was actually postponed, so we have a bit more time. It's fine. So let's jump right into it and we can take a look at what's being released, starting with Svelte 5.25.0, which is a pretty big minor change because now deriveds are actually writable. And what does it mean is that, let's say that we go to the playground and let's say that we have a component here, and this component has a prop. I don't know, name is equal to $props, like this. Now, this prop obviously comes from the parent component. But some useful things that you might do is, let's say that you want to have a local state, like, I don't know, let local name is equal to $state name. So you can have a local name, and then you can bind value to local name. And then maybe let's say that we do HR local name. We just want to see the local name here. Let's say that we import component from component like this, and this could be state. And we want to have input bind value to name here too. And then we want to have let's say an HR, and then we want to render the component passing in the name. Now, what this basically does is that you can write here, and you can already see the problem here, right? When I updated this was not updated. So this basically, it's not really what we want, because this is completely unrelated to the name in this case. So a solution before could have been, a wrong solution in my opinion, could have been to use an effect to do local name is equal to name, so that you can change these, and then whenever this changes, it resets back to the original thing. And again, whenever you are seeing effect used to assign state, that's usually a very big code smell. So one solution that we had for a while was to actually do something like this. So you could create, this could be a $sign derived .by, and you could create state, let ret is equal $sign state within the derived, and then return the ret value. And so then you could do something like local name dot name, local name dot name. So by doing this, what you do is whenever this update, the value also update, but you can also update the value separately, right? And I spelled this wrong, but it's fine. The point is, this was a way to have a writable derived. You would have to create the local state within the derived, return it, obviously inside a closure, and sorry, and then you would need to access to this, which was pretty annoying. But since Svelte 5.25.0, derived are actually writable, and what does it mean is that you don't have to do all of these now anymore. You can just do derived, and this can be directly name, and then you can just bind to local name like before. And this has the same result in the sense that you can write separately here, but then whenever you update here, it will also update. So this is pretty cool. And like it was something that it was deliberately choose I can speak before, but we slowly realized that like at the end of the day it does make sense for a derived to be like this. And one of the issue that we had was what happens to proxied state, and something that is very clear inside the documentation and that you should be aware of is that derived are basically like a derived value is basically is not proxied ever. So even if you pass basically it's the same as state.row basically. So you need to reassign to trigger the reactivity. You can't just mutate. So yeah, this is pretty cool. Like it's a pretty big change, and I think it's a welcomed one. Let's go over prevent dev server from throwing error when attempting to retrieve the proxied value of an iframe content window. This is something that I think sometimes it's really annoying because like there are some properties that cannot be proxied, specifically like an iframe content window, for example. And if you try to do weird thing with that, it might throw an error. But we fix them little by little. This is also interesting. Migrate reassign deriveds to derived. So before, and let me open up an old version of Svelte, for example, 24. Let's say that you had a component like this, a Svelte 4 component like this. Let uppercase is equal, actually, this. Uppercase is equal name dot to uppercase, right? So this is a good old Svelte 4 component, uppercase. Now, in this case, if you migrate this, it would actually use a derived because this is not reassigned. The problem, however, arises when you are also binding to uppercase. So if you are reassigning to uppercase in Svelte, like in Svelte 5.24.1, if you try to migrate, this gets weirdish because basically like this should, like you also need to do $sign state like this. We cannot infer that for you, so you need to do this. Then there's this import run legacy from legacy. And this is all basically because if you are reassigning it, we couldn't just reassign to the derived. But this is actually changed since the latest version. So if I remove the version here and we go back to the new version, since now deriveds are actually writable, we can actually do boink and it works. And I see some comment like Svelte is no longer slender and elegant, and allow me to disagree because really the only difference with Svelte 4 is this. Like this is really the only difference on how you declare state, but this unlocks so many possibilities that really, personally, I'm perfectly fine with adding a state and a derived here and there to unlock so many possibilities that before were just not possible. Like create a utility function that actually react to changes and stuff like that without using a store. That was, I think this unlocked a lot. But let's move on. We have fix prevents state rune from being called with spread. So this is actually something a few times ago we actually we started working on the on change. So there is a PR to allow the user to add an on change to state so that they can synchronize. Like that's called synchronously, to synchronize with, I don't know, local storage for something, something like that, without using an effect. So the point is, we found out that like technically was not prevented something like this. So if I go to 0.2, which is the version before, technically I could do something like let args is equal to word, and then I could do something like this. Args. Like, this worked. But to be fair, like I don't think anybody ever wrote something like this. And this could actually be problematic when we actually add another option to state, because then like the compiler cannot have a clear vision of what you're actually passing, if it's just one argument, if it's multiple arguments and stuff like that. And so now you can't actually do something like this. It's a simple enough. I don't think anybody actually wrote code like this. But this will unlock some compiler possibility that were previously impossible if we were able to do something like this. So that's it for Svelte. Let's go to SvelteKit. No, nothing. There is Svelte ES-linked parser, resolve the issue of props incorrectly detected as store when using variable named after rune like $sign props and props. This is an issue that it's biting us everywhere. Package manager detection is now in non-interactive environments, so this is cool. Basically, the Svelte CLI, if you're using a non-interactive environment, it means that it's not asking you questions, it's just like going ahead. Now can also infer your package manager. Added upstate migration to Svelte 5 migration. So previously there were two different migration. One to migrate your SvelteKit app to $sign_up/state from $sign_up/stores. But effectively, like that, just Svelte 5 migration. So we just added it to the Svelte 5 migration, and it's fine. Enhance code generation for more intuitive formatting. Switch to ES3 compatible AST tooling. So the CLI is actually doing a lot of AST manipulation because obviously they are changing your files when you add Tailwind, for example. They are taking your existing file, your existing vidconfig, for example, and adding something to it. So they need to do a lot of ES3 manipulation, a lot of IST manipulation, and now they switched to an ES3 compatible IST, just for like uniformity with Svelte. Use Writable derived in Svelte demo. So since now we have Writable derived in the demo project, you will actually see use of this. Disable no-undef ESLint rule in TypeScript project. Replace create Svelte in library template readme. Adapter Cloudflare, revert writing server file to the Cloudflare build directory. I wonder what happened, probably something. Update the Paraglide.js add-on to set up v2 of Paraglide.js. So if you don't know about this, Paraglide.js is a pretty cool internationalization library. I was actually working on my own internationalization library, and I stopped the development after I saw the V2 of Paraglide.js, because they solved a lot of problems that they had. It's pretty cool, and it's kind of like when you ask for internationalization in the SV CLI, it's actually using Paraglide. And they now released a V2, which is much, much better. And now, like, you also have it inside your newly created project. Add bun.log file to pretty.ignore. Add volumes to Docker Compose file generated by Drizzle. Okay, so when you ask for a database, we are generating a Docker Compose, and it's adding the volumes so that you actually can store a Drizzle database spinned by Docker inside your actual file system. So yeah, that was it for the changelog. By the way, the creator of Svelte Changelog actually reached out to say that he's preparing something special for episode 100, which is cool, and also that it will be redesigned and it will be prettier, even though I think this is pretty cool. So yeah, I literally cannot wait to see the changes, because again, I already like this a lot, but I'm really curious to know what's planned for Svelte Changelog. Okay, let's move to some quick announcement. Obviously, I don't know how many times I've told you, but Svelte Summit is happening in person May 8 and May 9. As I've said multiple times, there is also the workshop on May 7th, which is the day before. So if you are booking something and you are interested in doing the workshop, take that into consideration when booking your flight. So the day before at One World Cathedral, we will do a full day workshop on how to migrate to Svelte 5, basically. So it's all about Svelte 5, and it's held by me. So if you know me, you can actually do it. So yeah, and also, by the way, we also opened up to online. So if you can't make it to Barcelona, but you still want to attend the workshop, you can also attend online, and there will be recording and stuff like that. So yeah, May 8 and 9, we published the sponsors too, because that's also important. Sentry and CK Editor are sponsor of this year Svelte Summit. And obviously we have a bunch of talks, very, very interesting talks, and I cannot wait to be there with everyone. And the venue is also very cool. And yeah, so please join us, and I cannot wait to meet you all. The other announcement is that, as I've said, for this week is Svelte episode 100 on Friday, April 11th, there will be a Q&A with Rich Harris. So yeah, if you are, let me actually post the link in chat. So if you have any question for Rich, feel free to drop them in this form, and we will go over all. If like, obviously we will filter some inappropriate answers, so don't ask inappropriate questions. But yeah, that's cool. Now we might end here, but I want to actually show you something because I think it's pretty interesting. So, and I think I need to open up my beta version of Chrome, because I'm using Arc, and Arc unfortunately does not have this update yet. So let's go to svelte.dev/playground here, and I will zoom in, I hope enough. Let's do this, because in the latest Chrome version, if you have Android, it's much more likely that you have it, but in the latest, like by the next version of Chrome, there's something very interesting happening right now. Chrome custom select. So now, so customizing select components is something that a lot of developers struggled with, because a normal select is very hard to customize, because you can change the appearance of the actual select, but the moment you click on it, that's very bad. I want to show you, like if I go to pen.new, which is a code pen. Actually, I think we can do this in the Svelte playground too. Yeah, I think we can do it here. So let's say that you have a select component like this, and then you have a series of options. Svelte, React, Vue, and Solid. And let's also add Angular, pure Angular. Okay, so we have this select component, and obviously like the basic select looks pretty bland. So let's say that our designer says, hey, I want this select to be cooler. Please change the design. So we can do select, and we can, I don't know, remove the border. I don't know, like I'm not a designer. Border 0, padding of 1 rem, border radius of 0.5 rem, and maybe we can do 0.5 rem, yeah, just to make it slicker. I don't want margin of 0, I don't know, yeah. But let's say that we do something like this, and for example, background color, we can do, I don't know, I have no idea. 222, right? Let's say that, so now this is better looking, and maybe we can do 1px solid, I don't know, FFF3, right? So this is now better looking, but look at this. Like when you try to select, it's still using the old thing. So maybe you can select the option and change it. I don't know, background color red, maybe. Nope, it doesn't work, because like the basic select is basically unstylable. Like you can style what you get on the page, but this is not stylable, which is not very cool. But since Chrome 135, you can actually style the select much more. Sorry for the flashbang, by the way. Let's do dark theme. So you can basically just do this appearance base select, and this will basically unlock a lot of cool stuff, because you can actually change a lot of the select now. So I think like basically you can add like SVGs inside the option. You can customize the option with its own, I don't know, like HTML structure and stuff like that. You can even change the basic select to be something completely different. For example, let me show you. Yeah. Yeah, let me show you this, because this is, and sorry again for the flashbang. But the point is, like, for example, you can replace the button like this, and then you have this new tag that is selected content, which is basically what you have selected. So once you select 2, you will see selected option 2. So like you can do a lot of very cool stuff. Like for example, they even have something like this. You can animate these. You can even have something like the multi-select, right? So you have the button here, and you can hide the button. Like you can change, like you can set the selected content into a different part of the document. Like it's very, very cool. And like, yes, Phil is actually asking, this is only for Chrome, right? Yes, like technically it's in the spec, so sooner or later Safari and Firefox will catch up, and so we can actually do it. But for the moment, it's only for Chrome. This, however, is a bit problematic, because let's say that I want to add some, cool thing to my select. I want to change my select so that it's actually using this brand new stuff, right? So let's say that I want to add an image tag, for example. If I do image source is equal to svelte.dev, svelte.png, for example, and I do this, you can see that Svelte is actually throwing a compiling error. IMG cannot be a child of option. Option only allow those children, which is text. So yeah, that's a more general idea. The problem with this is something pretty annoying, to be fair. So if you put something else inside an option tag, and I actually built, let me open this in a new tab, because I actually built this. So this is what Svelte is doing under the hood. So it's creating a template element, is setting the inner HTML of the template that you provide, that you write inside your Svelte component, and then it's returning the inner HTML of that. Actually, it's returning the template, and it's navigating the template to get back the actual elements that then it can append to your page. The problem is that if you pass any impossible HTML, it will repair that HTML. I'll show you an example. So if I have a table like this, you might have seen that in Svelte, if you try to do, I think I can do it here, right? Let's say that I have a table in Svelte and I put a tr in it, you can see that you get the same error. Tr cannot be a child of table. That's kind of weird, right? Because like you've seen this happen in your HTML, probably. Now, the reason why this doesn't work is because let's say that I put a tr here. This is the output of the actual compiler. Sorry, not of the actual compiler, of the HTML. Like if you pass these to a template, this is how you get back. Like this is the actual structure that you get back. So if you take a look at the table and you do first child, for example, instead of it being a tr, is actually a t-body. And that's why Svelte needs to do something about this. Because if you take a look at the JS output of a Svelte component, you can see that, let's say that I have my table here, and let's say that I actually have, let name is equal $state, like this, and let's say that I have correct HTML, not table, sorry, t-body, and I put this here, and I put my variable here, name. Oh yeah, I cannot be text. It needs to be a td. Okay, so now we have a valid structure, right? So we have this, and let's actually say that this changes just to see it happen. Bind value name, like this. Let's take a look at the JS output of this Svelte component. You can see that we have this template here, and this is where we are converting your template string into actual elements. So we, inside this function, pass this string to the template element and then get back the template content. And then this is the fragment. So this is the container. And then what we do is we say, okay, the input is the first child of this fragment. Then we have the table, which is the sibling of the input. So we take the input, we do one sibling, two sibling, and we go to the table. And then we do the T body is the child of table. And then TR is the child of T body. And then TD is the child of TR. And then finally, we can have the text, which is child of TD. And then after all of these, we can do template effect, set text, this text to the name. So we need to basically navigate the HTML structure to reach for the thing that we are interested to change. So in this case, what we are interested in changing is the text element inside the TD, and that's the only thing that will change because we are like very fine-grained. But to reach that text, we need to do a series of first child, first child, first child, first child. Now, the problem is that if we go back here, you can see that here the first child we expect to be a TR, but it's actually a T body. And so that's where all breaks, right? So what's all of these has anything to do with the select? The problem is that this is not really an easy fix for us to allow option to have an image tag inside, because the moment you allow this will also work for Firefox. But the problem is that if I open this thing here and I do select /select option /option, if I do image cool, for example, in Chrome, this actually works fine. But if I try to open this in Firefox, and I can actually do it probably. So let's open this in Firefox. If I try to do this in Firefox, let me zoom in a bit more. If I try to do the same in Firefox, and you can see that this was the basic example that I had, let me copy the same example here, just for the sake of it. So in Firefox, the image is actually automatically removed by the browser itself. So this is pretty annoying for Svelte, because this means that now there is a very different behavior and very different HTML structure coming out from the template if you are in Firefox or if you are in Chrome. We probably have a way to fix it. We already have some ideas to fix it, on how to fix it, but it will take a bit of time to like test everything and make sure that everything is fine and stuff like that. In the meantime, though, there is a workaround if you want to actually do it. And there is my song that is always coming back. So we have a fix, most likely. We will work on this. But if you really want to use it right now, there is a workaround. And the workaround is that you can create either a snippet or a component. So because the logic for this, it's only applying, like the snippet will have its own template. If I do snippet option, for example, and I do this, you can see that now I can actually, obviously this is complaining about the alt, but now I can just do @render option like this, and now this is working. And so the point is, obviously, like this will still use this because you actually need to style the select and the picker to have the base annotation, and we can actually do it. So this is a bit of a workaround, obviously, and we will absolutely fix this, so no worry. But this actually, it's probably like really not bad, because this makes your code a bit more like you can accept a name and a source, for example, and then you can do source like this, alt, is equal to name, and the name here is like this, name, and then you can actually render the same with a much like something like this, svelte, and the image tag there, and then you can do the same for Vue, React, Angular, for example. Let's say Vue, React, and Angular. And I actually have, let me grab them, because I actually have, sorry for the flashbang once again, I actually have some logos that we can actually put just to show you. So we have Angular, like this, and we have React like this, and we have Svelte like this, and we have Vue like this. So if we do this, okay, and then we actually do select and comma and picker select, and we do I can't remember how it was named. I think it was appearance base select. So if we do this, you can see that this actually changed, and now when we click, obviously there's some huge image. So let's actually do image is equal to width 60 pixel, for example. And now, what? Oh, 16 pixel. And now, like, you can see that the background is actually applying. You can do all sorts of stuff. Like we can remove this, and like we have this various thing, and the same is also true for the button. Like if you try to do button, because the first button in the select will be what's shown inside of the instead of the actual select. So you can use the same trick for the moment. Again, we will fix this too. If we do snippet button slash snippet, and we can do button, and inside the button we can do selected content like this, area label, select framework like this. And the nice thing is that you can actually do please select a framework, for example, if you want, and then you can render the snippet, render button like this. And now, as you can see, like this is the actual button that you are clicking, and you can customize it. So you can do button is equal to background red. Obviously this was already possible before, but oh, it's not actually, I think you cannot, maybe this, I can't remember how to style the actual thing. But the nice thing again is that you can do basically whatever you want here. And yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I think you can even do button. Let's move this outside, and I think we can do ID is equal framework. Maybe framework. I don't know if that's the right thing. I don't think it's working. Maybe I need to do, oh, maybe it's the opposite. Yeah. No. Maybe, I can't remember. I just want to check out, sorry. Selected content ID. Let's see. Okay, selected content element. So this framework, right? Ah. Let me see. Yeah, this should be a selected content element is equal to my selected content. Yeah, this should work. Maybe it's a bug. Oh, I guess you still need to render a button of some sort. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. We can figure out later. I think it might even be a bug for something. I'm just very curious. Yeah, I think selected content element, and you need to target the ID. So unless I misspelled, yeah, it's probably some bug or maybe some changes in the actual implementation. The point is, this is for the moment a way to use the selected content and the rich text value for an object in Svelte. So that's what I wanted to show you. I actually made a nicer example if you want to look at it, and I will make sure to post it inside our inside the description, where I've also used like custom colors, and like you can see something like this, which is pretty cool, and it's animated, and you can take a look. I will post this inside our description, and I think that's actually it. I don't know if there is any question. Too many things to be fixed and so many workarounds. Again, like this is not really a workaround. Like this is just a workaround because technically this is a breaking change in the web, which is unprecedented. So obviously we need to keep up with the web. And we already have a solution. I'm just showing you this because if you want to really play around with it now, you can do it using this trick. But again, I'm pretty sure that we can fix this before the next week. So it's not something that, oh my god, it will take us so much time. It's just something that we need to fix, and we didn't got chance to do it yet. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks for today, and I cannot wait for the next episode because it will be very, very nice. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you guys next week. See ya.